It appears that Greg Abbott might be personally to blame for some of the massive price gouging that happened during the deadly Texas ice storms. Now, this is according to Bill Magness, who was the former CEO of the Electric Reliability Council for Texas, or ERCOT. Now, I know, reliability, right? Well, the whole problem is that they weren't reliable. But anyway, now this is according to court testimony, and basically Magness had said that millions of Texans had received these sky-high energy bills during last winter's deep freeze based on the instructions of Greg Abbott. Now, let me remind you, a couple hundred people died during that because they couldn't get heat, they didn't have heat, didn't have electricity in many cases. And of course, those who did were charged huge bills, huge bills, leading to, of course, up to $8,000 for electricity. Some are still paying that back as of today, which I don't believe that they should. Now, according to the Houston Chronicle, Magness alleged that under oath that when he ordered power prices to stay at the maximum price cap for days on end during this winter storm and blackout, he was doing it at the direction of the Texas governor. Magness said that keeping prices high as possible was the only way to follow through on Abbott's directive, which was then relayed by then Public Utility Commission Chairman Deon Walker to keep the power on at all costs. She told me that the governor conveyed to her if we emerged from rotating outages, that it was imperative that they not resume. We needed to do what we needed to do to make it happen. Now, I have some questions about that. How does jacking up the price ensure that you can keep the power on? That doesn't make any sense. That has nothing to do with that. You could just keep the power on at the same price. I mean, how much it costs? Like what is it? Coin operated? You got to slide your credit card in there to make the gas come out? Is that what's going on? No, that's not the situation. Although I probably shouldn't be giving them any ideas. No, it has nothing to do with that. And it has everything to do with the donors in the fossil fuel industry in this deregulated grid that is not part of the national power grid. Texas has completely separated its power grid from the rest of the United States, not allowing us to be able to send in supplemental power through those power lines to make up the deficit there that's happening in Texas, or was happening in Texas. And so what they did is just, overcharge people for power and said, oh yeah, we're doing it because, we need to keep it on. No. Yes, it's important to keep the power on. And yes, it's good to keep it on, especially during this, and to do everything you can. But there was no reason to have these insanely high bills going out to average people. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Now, of course, this could have been avoided as well had they actually spent some of the money to winterize their grid. I realize that it's Texas and that they're very, very short-sighted and have decided, no, we don't need any winterization. Is it ever going to snow here? It's very rare. Oh, no, it just snowed here. Not just snowed, but it's a massive ice storm. Oh, dear God, what have we done? Yeah. Well, what you did is that you ended up leading to the deaths of hundreds of people and the complete disruption of your state. Great job, Greg Abbott. Wonderful. But so now, of course, if you don't prepare for emergencies, when an emergency happened, what happened? Obviously, the entire thing essentially imploded. And that's what happens when you deregulate and you separate your little libertarian type paradise from the grid in order to allow, these companies to charge whatever they want. And look, when there's not an emergency, when there's not a lot of demand, the prices can get fairly low, but you don't have any consistency and you don't have any protection. And so there's some very, very big vulnerabilities and problems with this that apparently they don't want to fix. And they haven't fixed. They haven't done anything to stabilize their grid. So when the next ice storm happens, well, gee, or whatever, it doesn't even have to be an ice storm. It could be, some other weather-related event that takes out the power. Well, you're going to have issues, major issues. And so, but of course, Greg Abbott, probably in order to distract from this, says, don't look at this. Look at the transgenders. I can't believe they have rights. Oh, I can't believe they have rights. We need to look over there. Let's ignore this massive institutional and market failure that will likely happen again and will likely end up killing hundreds of people again. But don't worry, though. I'm going to come up with some sort of distracty bullshit so that you don't have to pay attention to how I'm letting my donors rob you.